Well, hello. Merry Christmas to everybody. Um, Usually I film from my car. I'm not doing DoorDash because it's Christmas Day and there just isn't that much business, so it's not really worth it. So I thought I'd film from my room. It's actually mine and my 3-year-old granddaughter's room. We share it. As you can see behind me, there's a lot of toys, some blankets, and clothes. Um, we don't worry too much about being really, really super clean and neat. She's a 3-year-old. She is what she is. Anywho, um, I've been doing a lot of shorts on what it's like to be a 72-year-old who got divorced, oh, what, 9 years ago? Let's go with 9 years. It's right in that range. Um, my second divorce. And I remember Christmas time. Um, of course, the reason that I got divorced was because my now ex-wife um, just wasn't in love with me anymore. Doesn't hate me, didn't dislike me, wasn't vengeful, didn't do anything wrong, just didn't really want to share life with me. And our daughter had grown up, and at the time she was about 16 and was exploring the world on her own as far as relationships and things to do, and um, didn't really hold us together anymore. So, so to be honest, I cheated. Okay, I'd been cheating for probably 4 years or 5 years, but I hadn't had a physical relationship with my now ex-wife uh, basically since my granddaughter was or my daughter was born. Not complaining. It was something she needed to do to deal with life. It was something um, the person I am maybe makes it hard to stick it out with me and find things that are in common. Um, Basically, I at the time was training racehorses and working more than 40 hours a week driving truck, and it kept me away from home a lot. But I think she appreciated that. She just wanted to spend time with our daughter and be involved with her own stuff. So anyway, the reason that I'm talking about this is because right now I'm engaged to a 26-year-old Dominican University graduate. We've been in an online relationship for 7.5 years. Um, Honestly, it's the girl that I dreamed of all my life since I was 13 or 14, or she was when I first saw her on Facebook. And she reached out to me. I had a modeling agency. We were doing some work with some Dominican and Haitian young ladies, trying to put together a calendar. And I had a Haitian friend, and he wanted to help an orphanage that he was aware of after the Haitian earthquake. And he met me online, and we discussed the possibilities. And I thought, well, there's nothing wrong with a bunch of 18 to 25-year-old Haitian and Dominican girls, um, getting to know some of them, putting myself out there. At the time, I was, 60, yeah, 60 in 2011. And so he and I worked on it for about a year, and it never really came to fruition. I donated some money to the orphanage. But I did become very popular on Facebook with a number of young ladies in that range of 18 to 25, both Haitian and Dominican, and some from the Pacific area too. Um, and of course, they all wanted to get to know me. They all were almost instantly in love with me. Um, and of course, the normal bull. But like I said, I've been dealing with professional American escorts sugar babies, mistress. I already had that area scoped out, and I knew not to, fall in love. But at 60, my heart was pretty safe. Even if I had fallen in love, I wasn't gonna get heartbroken, and I wasn't a pitiful 60-year-old, and I'm not a pitiful 72-year-old either. I like what I like. I love what I love. Um, but I'm very stable, and no drugs, no alcohol, no smoking. Gambling and girls has basically been it all of my life. So anyway, the purpose of being on the internet was to keep me from marrying the American escorts that I was hanging out with. And by hanging out, I mean, yes, paying for their services, but also actually taking a few of them and their kids to Chuck E. Cheese and out go-kart racing with one of them, and actually sort of dating. And I probably at that stage, I wasn't what they could trust because I was still married, legally, and couldn't really do anything. And also, girls that provide that kind of service get very, very jaded and never trust guys. So, anyways, the young lady that I met online on Facebook or saw online on Facebook was the younger sister of one of the girls that had talked to us about modeling. And this young lady reached out to me and said, I want to be a model too. She was very pretty. Of course, that's the girl I dreamed of all my life. So, but I looked at her profile, and she was engaged. And I took a look at the pictures and kind of traced it back. And she was engaged to one of her older sister's mates and friends, and he was a good-looking guy. Compared to me, hell, anything is. But anyways, so I knew not to cross that line. But she did say she wanted to do modeling, and I asked how old she was, and she said almost 16. And I knew damn well I didn't want to deal with an international model situation, and I wasn't equipped. I mean, it's small-time modeling agencies, just online stuff, or with some exotic dancers or something in the community I was living at the time, or some college students. And so I told her, you're too young for me to deal with. And she said, well, send me $30 because I want a dress. And I thought it was very ballsy of her, and kind of, I'm from Buffalo, New York, and I like that sort of personality. And I said, okay. And she said, wait, make it 50. I want some heels too. And I couldn't help but laugh. I said, okay, I'll send 50. She says, well, you got to send it to my mom because I don't have any ID. Well, you're too young to have ID. And so I sent the $50 off to her mother, and didn't really think a lot about it after that. I was, like I said, I was seeing this girl and that girl, and dating a little, and professionally dating a little, and in the throes of getting the divorce paperwork all done. And we had a very amicable divorce. We're still, we got a daughter in common, now a granddaughter in common. So we see each other virtually on a daily basis, handing off the granddaughter, or stopping over at her house to pick her up, and with my daughter. And I live with my daughter, my granddaughter, and my daughter's fiance, who's the father of my granddaughter, and good people. So anyway, as the months turned into a couple of years and we were getting close to the divorce, I realized that I was probably going to fall in love with one of the girls that I shouldn't fall in love with. And my dream girl online was about to enter college, and I could tell her family was good, solid family. That both the parents worked, but they weren't by any means rich. And checked into Dominican Republic university costs, and tuition was like $80 a month. And I thought, I said, I need to solve a couple problems and do something nice for this girl. I mean, every time I broke up or every time I got divorced, this girl was the one that I pictured, the one that kept me from thinking it was really too bad, because it wasn't the girl that I dreamed of. And so I approached her and I said, very simply, I looked on her profile and she wasn't engaged anymore. I wouldn't have done anything if that hadn't been the case. But since she was single and I saw her in a picture with a Dominican gentleman who was not as old as me, certainly, but I'd say maybe twice her age at the time, in his 30s. And I just texted her and said, using her name, I love you. And so I didn't expect much, but she responded right back and said, you misspelled my name, which I knew I did because it was intentional. I thought it would get a rise out of her. And she said, what do you mean you love me? And I said, here's the deal. I said, you're the girl I've dreamed of all my life. I said, I know you're 3,000 miles away. We're 4.5 decades difference in age. But I just got divorced. I am hanging out with escorts, and I was honest about it. And I said, I'm probably going to propose to one of them, and I really don't think it's a very good idea. So if I can be in love with you, that'll keep me from proposing to anybody else. And in the meantime, I can sort things through. I see you're single now, and just help me out until you find, your future husband, or if I get serious with somebody. I said, if you're dating, you're dating. That's no different, no big deal. I don't care about that. And I said, this way I can still date my friends here, and I won't have to worry about proposing or having them think that I'm available. And I said, I will pay for your college. And she says, yeah, right. And I said, I'll tell you what. I said, give me your contact information. We chatted every 4 or 5 or 6 months in the interim, when she texted me one time and said, my boyfriend's going out with me. It's Friday night. He's going out with his friends. Is that right? And I'd say, well, you're 16. He's 19. He probably wants to go with his friends, and you can't go where they can go. Can't go to the bars or the disco. And I said, I think you're worth sacrificing the time with my friends, but he's got to be the person that he is, and stuff like that. Or she'd text me and say, it's my birthday coming up next week, and I'd send her $30, $40, something like that. And so anyways, I said, tell you what, I said, I've sent you money. I said, go there right now. There's $300, which will cover 3 months of your schooling. And I said, when you get back home with the money, hit me up and let me know. And so she disappeared for a few hours and got back and said, you really sent it? I said, yeah. I said, you're going to save me an awful lot of money and probably a really ugly marriage and divorce if you'll just let me be in love with you. And she says, what do I got to do? And I said, it's real simple. I said, once a month, you text me and tell me how school's going. She said, I don't have to do any dirty stuff or pictures. I said, hell no. I said, that's not who you are. We've known each other now for 3 years, 2 years, and I would never have approached you if that's who you were. So just simply, say hi, tell me how things are going, and that'll be fine. And every month you're going to get $100, and I'll let you know through Facebook chat that I sent it, and give you the numbers so you can pick it up. And she said, okay. And so I signed off and figured, well, about 30 days, she'll realize it's time. And the next morning, I got a good morning from her. And I just said thank you and good morning to you. And didn't respond much yet. And then that night, I got a good night. And it just went on like that, and has for 7.5 years. About now, remember, this is a girl. Don't tell me what you're all gonna say. This is a girl that I told to play me. I said that's exactly what I wanted, and it is. It's true. I mean, what can be better than being in love with a beautiful young woman and being able to have sex with anybody you wanted because that was part of the deal, and not feel guilty about it. And no, she doesn't have any interest in me other than making $100 a month, and I'm sure that helped her family and everything. So I started receiving text messages from her every day. It started just with a good morning and a good night, but later on it evolved to she said, well, you sent me more than I needed for school, so I bought this dress. Do you like it? And she modeled a dress for me, and she knew I was into modeling, and she knew I had taste and knew about fashion. So so we could have struck up a conversation there on a regular basis, and every day she kind of like that. And after 3 months, maybe 4 months, I thought, I said I really, really appreciated it, and I asked her. I said, are you having a good time? Find anybody? She says, no. She says, I'm not really looking for anybody. She says, I've got school and I help take care of my niece and my nephew, and I'm very busy. And I said, okay, well, she asked me, she said, how's your, and I said, to be terribly honest, I haven't seen anybody. I can afford to, but I haven't. And I said, I'm going to, I said, what's the biggest change since we started doing this? She says, I get to go to the salon. I'd never been to the salon. And she says, I love it so much. And I said, that's great. And I got off the line and I thought, well, I'm going to order her a dozen roses just to be nice and see what happens. And I sent her a dozen roses. Trust me, sending a dozen roses from California to the Dominican Republic, you go through 3 intermediaries and it costs you 5 times what it should. But I did it, and she was absolutely surprised and flabbergasted and really appreciative of it. And so we went on, and after another month, it was coming on her birthday, and I said, something? I said, I'm going to up the ante. Instead of 100 a month, I'm going to send you 150 a month. And she said, why? And I said, because I want you to be able to go to the salon every week. And I said, I figure that's enough money to get to the salon every week. And she says it would be. And I said, does that sound like a good birthday Christmas present? She said, that'd be great. So I started sending her 150 a month. And I'd been saving so much money by not seeing my friends that it really was no stretch at all. And we went on like that for about another year. And I got a little more time working because I was wasting a lot less time. And so as a result of that, I upped her to $200 a month. And she said, what's that for? And I said, well, to be terribly honest, $200 a month, I don't really enjoy spending. It's just, things are so expensive here. And if I send you $200 a month, not only to get an education, but you really, you buy stuff, you show it to me, you you show me when you buy something to eat or something, you get shrimp or some of that shrimp are one of her favorites. And I said, you really love it. And she says, is it okay that I don't show my picture, show your picture on my Facebook or anything? And I said, I would think that you'd get a lot of flack from guys over there and misinterpret that if you're getting, with me, that you're playing me. And I said, I asked you to play me, but you don't really seem to be playing me too much. And I said, does anybody know about us? And she said, my sister suspects. And with that, I don't know what happened, but next week her sister texted me and said, you're my sister's American friend, right? Her boyfriend. And I said, I'm not going to tell you yes or no because, that's inappropriate. I said, anything I find out is between you and your sister. And so I found out that she had admitted to it. And her sister said, my sister has never been happier. And she says, I want to thank you for being so kind to her and so helpful. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. We go another half a year down the road. So we're about 2.5 years into the relationship that isn't really a relationship. And I said, how's it going? She says, would you consider coming here and marrying me? She says, I want 3 children. And I said, well, besides the fact that you're very pretty and getting a good education, and I'm not so pretty, why would you want to do that? I said, it makes me a little, I won't say suspicious, but definitely concerned. And she said, well, to be terribly honest, over here, with all the Haitian girls that moved in after the earthquake, all the guys here have multiple girlfriends and they all cheat. Even the married men cheat because there's so many girls that are available, and prostitution is legal in the Dominican Republic. And so it really was that situation. She just says, I really think that if you've gone 2.5 years without seeing any girls that you could have seen as part of the deal, that you'll be faithful to me. And she says, that's really appealing to me. And I said, 3 kids. I love children. She says, I know you love children. She says, that's another good thing, another plus. And I said, well, are you in love with me? And she says, well, of course not. She says, you've never come here. We've never met in person. But she says, we have a good, honest relationship. We always have fun chatting. She says, you've helped me with my homework sometimes. You're obviously intelligent. You love kids. She says, I think we match up pretty good. And I said, well, yeah, of course. I wouldn't say no to that. And she says, love could grow, possibly. And she says, at any rate, you've made a big difference in my life. And she says, I wanted to go on. So that we were officially a couple. And I said, look, anytime you need out, anytime you find somebody, I said, that's fine. And that winter, her dad and her mom knew who I was. 2 of her cousins knew who I was. Her 2 best friends knew who I was. Her dad didn't have a cell phone. And so I sent her money to buy him a cell phone, nothing expensive, just a flip phone. And after he got it at Christmas, he texted me and said, and I'd never had any contact with him. And he said, thanks for the phone. Everybody wants something. And by this juncture, I sent her $700 to get a crooked toothpicks, put braces on. And I answered back and said, you're right. I said, we want the same thing. We want the best life your daughter can possibly have. I said, I'm helping her with college so that she doesn't need to marry any guy like me or anybody that she doesn't love. And I said, I fixed her tooth so that she can not be as shy and talk and flirt with other guys. And I said, if you can find somebody better than me that'll make her happier than me between now and when she graduates university, I said, you have my blessing to get them together and push me aside. And I said, but in exchange, if you haven't found anybody, I can connect you to help your daughter. And he said, yes, you have my blessing to continue to help. And so I asked my now fiance, I said, about a month later, I said, how's dad coming on finding? Because I told her everything. I said, how's dad coming to finding somebody? He says, oh, he's not even interested in looking. She said, you're just fine as far as he's concerned. And her mom had texted me many times on Facebook and said, I was glad it was you. Said, I've been following you. You seem like a really decent man. And I've never seen my daughter so happy. And I've never expected her to have as good a life as she has now while she's a college student, because she had enough money to do other things. And of course, I was giving her a little bit more at this time than before. But it was still a bargain. If it just on economics alone, what I would have been spending here to keep my heart happy, it was a bargain. So, anyways, I think that's where I'm going to cut it. It's been pretty long, but have a Merry Christmas and hope to see you soon.